Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back to Masterminds Radio. I'm your host, Ogun the Neo. Yes, the one and only. You understand? With this podcast, we're going to deal with imagination into creation and turn that into monetization. How are we going to take what's inside our brains, right? And we're going to figure out how to get this intellectual property bound, and we're going to figure out how to monetize it, and we're going to figure out how to get it going. You understand me? So this is what we're going to be going through with these mastermind podcasts. Right now, take the time to tap in with our sponsors, Portland Made Clothing, where culture meets fashion and luxury meets the hood, where gods and goddesses can act in their divine nature and look good doing it. You see, you got a little bit of Black Mannequin. Shout out Black Mannequin. You know what I mean? Got a little bit of drip going on there as well. We got Marshmallow Honey Scrubs. At a time that a busy hustle and bustle, self-care is more important today than ever. Rejuvenate your skin. Fellas, get your beard correct. I need to tap in and, get a couple facial scrubs and stuff myself. You see what I'm saying? Look, I got shit going on. Oh man, these hair buns, man, I'm telling you, if you ain't taking care of yourself, wellness, that's why Wellness Wednesdays is going to be so important, right? Fellas, how to get your hygiene, how to take care of these things that we deal with masculinity, you know what I mean? Growing this facial hair sometimes is a pain, just as women have their own thing, right? So without further ado, what we're going to tap in today is the God code and the God code, aka should be the God code, right? But what we need to define the God code is, right? First, we need to look at the God code and differentiate the two. How are these two different? Because there is a certain thing as a God code, there's certain things as a God code. Which one are you falling in line with? Solely up to you. By the end of this podcast, hopefully you figure it out for yourself, or we figured it out together. Just as some people don't understand the difference between alpha male and beta male, which is actually called beta male, there's actually one called sigma male. So, a lot of times we put ourselves in the wrong category and or inadvertently put yourself in the right category. And that's probably not even where you really want to be at. So with God code, and it's only coming from my perspective, I think God code comes with a set of standards and morals and beliefs that as men, as masculinity, these are the things that we do. Almost like one of those things like bros before hoes. It's like a bond in a brotherhood that should not be separated. Let no man separate what we create. That's what Tupac said. So when guys build a bond, when they build a brotherhood, you should never let nobody separate that bond. That bond in your word should be your bond, right? So now we can even talk about supreme mathematics. When you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, when you want for your brother, when you want for yourself, that's a guide code. That's a guide code, right? But some of these guide codes should be definitely manifested into God code, right? So when you got a guide code, let's talk about some of the positive ones. Again, when you want for your brother, what you want for yourself, that's actually falling in line of a God code, right? But when you think about a God code, no bros before hoes and stuff like that, that's putting yourself into a niggardly way of thinking, a niggardly way of thinking, right? When you want to start thinking and putting yourself side by side next to something that is not divine and acting in its divine nature, then you got to now ask yourself, well, what role do I play in this, right? Because a lot of times we look at hoes and everything else, and there's a double standard that women can't do certain things that guys typically by America's standards can do and should be okay to do. So bros over hoes really never really made sense to me, never really stuck with me, right? And that is the reason behind it, is because we living by a double standard. Guys can go out here and have multiple baby mamas, have sex and just lay down with whatever, whenever they want to and choose and feel. Then when a woman do it, she's labeled a hoe or some sort of a degrading being. But it's okay. It's almost like in the graduation when a guy does it. How many bodies he has, in his success, in his status, his clout, I guess today, is measured by how many bodies he have. How many women has he took down. I can only imagine what these young boys is thinking, what society is pushing towards them today in our culture today, right? Because hyposexuality is a thing. And I think the elite knows this. They knows this. Just as the same way as they know that if you kill a nigga, you get a hit record. You kill a gay person, then it becomes a hate record. You kill a white person, then it becomes a hate record. You kill an Asian person, it becomes a hate record. But if you kill a brother, then it becomes a hit record. They know the same rules apply, you know, towards the male and female anatomy as well, because they are the ones that holds power. So when you think about a God code, you got to think like, who code are you upholding? Because we be ignorant to sit here and think that we don't deal and come from a place of Eurocentric ideology. You know, the woman, the white woman was supposed to stay home. She was supposed to stay home and be Susie Homemaker. And when she started fighting for her rights to work because the white man wanted her to stay at home and become property, the black woman was at home being an equal partner to their mate. So when we say bros over hoes, there was no such thing. This was a brotherhood that they created, and they made their women stay home while they go out and mess with the prostitutes. You see what I'm saying? They went out and messed with the prostitutes. So in the middle of all that chaos, we somehow still picked up our oppressive ways of thinking. We shouldn't even be dealing in the realm of prostitutes. We should be dealing with the realm of gods and goddesses, period. Elevate yourself from kings and queens. First, you got to elevate your mind out of being a nigga. Because niggas was created. Niggas is white people. Niggas is Asians. Everybody got a little bit of self-hate because that's all a nigga is somebody who practices. Like put into practice self-hate. They're constantly dealing and thinking as if a nigga. They have no remorse for life. They a hitter. They a slider. They all this, that, and above to cause everything that it is for their destruction. I read a post the other day, right? It's crazy. I read the post the other day. I shared it. I think it might have even been today, but I don't know. My day's kind of off because of my work schedule and stuff. But I read a post that said rappers send their kids to college, but their lyrics send them to prison. So I want you to seriously sit back and think about that. As they are getting rich off of the lyrics that is sending our children to prison, right? Teaching them how to become a hitter, a slider, a stepper, whatever it is today. They're getting rich off of the culture and getting rich off of the people who is purchasing this, paying for these tickets to go see these shows. All the while, they get to send their children to college and give them a better life, which by all means they should. But not on what expense do we have to ask ourselves? Is that a God code? Is that we stick with our brother so much that he has no remorse about the content he's putting out that's affecting your children one way, in a negative way? But on the other end, it's affecting his children in a positive way because they get a little bit more than what, you know, your children is able to have and attain right now because our, you know, economic status. So when we thinking about these things, like, is that a God code or is this a God code? Because as a God code, you want for your brother what you want for yourself. I don't want your children to go to prison, so I'm not going to feed them and hand them all the tools necessary for them to line themselves up with a prison sentence. I don't want to further perpetuate them to feel like and have to feel like they're the toughest on the block. They're the toughest. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be a square. Let's make being intelligent sexy again, if it ever was for our culture. But let's standardize that. Let's make that standard. Let's make that a very standardized thing, is that intelligence is sexy. You know, anybody can go out and make some money. You know what I mean? But what are you going to be able to do with the money? I told my son today, a man with lots of gold is a fool if he has no intelligence behind it. So you got a lots of gold, but you end up selling it. You don't know what to do with it, and you end up selling it too low. You just don't even understand the spot price of gold, and you just going to go buy gold. A fool's mind will always lead him into trouble. You know what I mean? So I always say chase opportunities and chase assets. Learn how to interact with opportunities. And once you chase opportunities and assets, then the money will chase you. The money will chase you. Anybody can go out there and go make a couple bucks, but what are you going to do to attain it? Do you even understand what a fiat dollar is? So when we're thinking about God code, these are the things that you are able to teach. You're able to give back into our culture and back into our nation, right? So when we think about these things, like, I want us to understand that there are certain codes that come with it, almost like the same thing as when you sign up to be in the streets. It's an unspoken word, an unspoken thing that when you sign up for the streets, you can't snitch. You can't do certain things. Just like when you get into a relationship, there's invisible boundaries that go up that you might not even be ready for, or you didn't know that you have any kind of prior conversation or training on, right? Before you take another job on your job or whatever, or another position, you should get adequate training, right? So you know what you're doing. Don't just jump on the cash register and you don't know what buttons do what. So when you jump into the streets, there's no training involved. You know, you just jump in and you like, you know what you're not supposed to do off top. You know, because I think because you know what you're going to be doing is probably illegal and criminal activity, or you're going to be around the criminal aspect element, right? Your environment is going to be that of criminals, right? So you know that you can't tell. We learned early on, tattletale. Telling is bad. Telling has always been bad in our culture. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter whether or not you did something with somebody. If you just a tattletale, you told on somebody. So we got trained very early on not to tell, and now we have some things that probably should be telling on. You know, women and children and babies. That's had nothing to do with anything. Civilians. That person has the right to tell. That's not a snitch. You know, so these are niggardly, and I feel like these are guy codes. Guy codes is, you know, not snitching and everything else. That comes with a nigga mentality. Period. It comes with a nigga mentality because you're already, again, like I said, you're already setting yourself up because you know you're partaking and participating in things that might be not so honorable, not so godlike, that if somebody found out, somebody might get in trouble, right? So these are the niggardly things. These are the guy code things that I think society, the dominant society, has created for our people to latch on to. Right? Because when you're dealing with God code, and I want for my brother what I want for myself, then I understand that there's nothing that I need to take from my brother. I don't need to steal from my brother. There's nothing that I need to rob my brother about, because I understand that things and monetary wise is in abundance. You know what I mean? And together we are stronger together than we are torn apart. So I'm going to make sure that my part in doing my God code is making sure that my brother is eating. My brother is making sure that I'm eating. You know what I mean? Don't just feed me as well, my brother, and I will as well show you the necessities and the necessary steps to do what you need to get so that you can eat more, right? I want to teach you. I dare not ever show my brother and go fish for my brother without showing him how to catch a fish, how to set the traps, how to do A, X, Y, Z, right? I'm never going to put my brother and put him on a boat and not show him how I got the boat, because I want him to go get the boat, right? Intellectual property. These are God codes, right? These are the God codes that we need to be abide by and we need to be paying attention to. We need to look within ourselves and put that mirror up and say, when you wear a crown every day, that your crown chakra is sitting right, so you can remind yourself that you are a God every single day. Every single day you're working towards being a better God, 1% better today than you were yesterday. That way you're always training yourself. You're always setting yourself up for positive outcomes. You're meditating in the beginning. You're learning how to fast from different worldly ways. Drown out the noise that's in your life, right? So that you can have clear focus on the vision. And then from that vision, men execute. When you think of man, you think about man living in a mind. When the mind is activated, that pineal gland is activated, or you think about a man's world, it's because the man created the world. And then it took for a woman to fine tune it with the aesthetics, right? And the aesthetics to make sure that everything is moving correctly. Making sure that you are set up to where that you can now execute what's inside of your mind. That way she can give more birth more to the men that's going to create more of the world, right? See, now when we come out of balance because the white man did not want to treat his woman as an equal, she was behind him in every step of the way. That was never for us. Our women was always on the side of us. So when we walk in a divine manner and we're acting accordingly inside of our divine nature, our masculine energy, into the feminine, asking in the feminine energy, then we are now into divine harmonation. And now we're walking in harmony. You hear what I'm saying? Now we're walking in harmony. She was never meant to walk behind us. She was always meant to walk in front of us. And I will tell you right now, if you want to know anything about the world, how to be adequately move and progress through the world, I say listen to a woman. Because we now have the ability to take what's in our nature and what's inside of our mind and utilize these tools and technology and create the future that we want. But we have to make sure that we are ready to work for it. We can be spiritually inclined or emotionally divine. You see, the black man and the black woman, when they come together and the masculine and the feminine energy come together, there's nothing. That creates the balance. That creates ma'at. That brings the scales to the situation, right? That brings the scales to the situation. So when we can make sure that we are acting within our divine manner, then everything will move accordingly. So I would say for my brothers and my sisters, leave the niggardly way alone. Hot girl summer, that they still create things for us to be perpetuated and looked into a negative light. And those are just a whole bunch of excuses not to act in a divine manner. Now, excuses in our nation is excuses builds a world of nothingness. Builds a world of nothingness. And when we act on these excuses, then we build a nation of nothingness, and we still don't have any kind of collective identity. Imagine a world and a nation full of nothingness with no collective identity. We can agree upon who we are in this world. On this particular plantation still of America, right? We are kings and queens. Our kings and queens, they dealt with minerals, with silver, gold, crystals, right? They dealt with all this stuff. They dealt with all the properties in the world to make sure that we are acting in our divine manner and we are having balance. As guys, we're supposed to move within our higher self. So when a woman in the community come to you for guidance, they come to you for problems, you have the solutions. We have the solutions. And the guidance. And when black men come out of prison, we can offer them a job. We can offer them employment. You are employing your woman. You can write your woman a check. It's not coming from another outside source. Your babies don't have to go to college to get the information. You are acting in your godly manner, and you're educating yourself so that where you can educate your children and they don't have to go to a white man's college to get in debt and probably not come out with a degree. And if they do come out with a degree, there's no guarantee they're going to come out and get that particular job in that particular field. And now they're still inside of debt, and we're still playing the same rules that we're playing that they set up for us. It's to the point to where now these children, the paradigm shift has changed, and the children that was considered bad now, the children that were all considered bad, that was not going to be anything in life, is now having all of the kids that were particularly good in school or so forth, is now working for the bad guys. So think about all these record labels, 50 Cent, Rockefeller. Think about even Nip. Nip didn't graduate. How many people were he employing? You know what I mean? Like he was working with Idris Sandoom. You know, that's I think a Harvard graduate or something like that. So like the guy, and I'm talking about Idris Sandoom, the guy who created the technology for the smart store, right? So when you are dealing with now the good children and not working for the children who was least likely to make it, man, the paradigm shift is changing, you guys. And if we are not ahead of the time, we're not ahead of the curve, we're going to get swept inside of it. And our children is going to be the ones paying for it. So when we learn to take accountability and use our rational, mathematical, and our powerful masculine and feminine energy, then we start to change the way things are depicted and changed and looked at. We control the narrative at that point. We control the narrative at that point. You hear what I'm saying? So I would say act within your God, in your godly manner. Act within God's. You know what it takes to be a God. It's in you. You don't have to look. A lot of people want to look outside and still look into Jesus or the depiction of Jesus, which is Caesar Borgia, which was the gay man who was depicted as the image of Christ, right? In the embodiment of Christ. But that was actually a gay man that was painted by his lover. So like, how much of this stuff are we still going to continue to go with, right? And when it comes to thinking and growing and seeing better generation and teach each other, like what are we going to do to lead them, to teach them? Are you going to act in a godly manner so they can see gods? Or are you going to act within a niggardly manner so they can see niggas? That's what we need to figure out. Especially, and then have a collective identity based upon that. And if you can't figure that out with the people that's in front of you, then get around the people that is going to think like-minded like you. That's going to be, not try. Remove that word out of our vocabulary. As God's create and God's do. So what we're going to do is that we're going to be around people that's going to think like us. People that want the same for us as they want for themselves. People that want to have a collective identity no matter what religion that you are claiming or what set you from or whatever else that you got going on. Collective identity is that meaning that we are black, we are in America. And what I mean by black is not your nationality. I'm not going to go there with y'all. Not our nationality, but I mean the way that you think. The way that you think, because light was born and formed out of darkness. So out of you comes light, black man. Out of you comes light, black woman. Your mind is black. It's infinite. Dark is infinite. Light can only go to where the light can touch. Darkness can cover everything. Darkness is infinite. So you are infinite. You are an infinite being on this earth. And when you can think infinite, when you can move infinite, you start to move in a divine manner now that is infinite. And when you are thinking infinite, because the man mind can stretch only as far as his information can put into his head. Only as far as the information it can put into his head, that's how far the mind can stretch, right? But I can teach you to do something, but you only can physically do it for so long every single day before you get burnt out. But the thoughts and ideas that you have can always grow. See, I don't like to get comfortable once I know something, because then I think ego sets in and I feel like I know it. And so this September, and y'all can walk with this journey with me. This September, I'm going to go through a God cleanse for myself. And I wrote this out for myself, to go through a God cleanse, right? And what that's going to entail is going to be meditating before eating in the morning, getting up, working out more, right? Taking time for myself to meditate more, right? And fasting. When you can fast, again, fasting is drowning out that white noise that's in your life. Putting your phone down for 2 hours a day, and then see what you will do. Turn your phone off for 2 hours a day. You can jump right back into promoting, marketing, and everything else that you got going on later on. Just put it down for 2 hours a day, right? So I'm gonna go through this journey, and I'm just gonna ride it out. I'm not going to negotiate with myself. No, I can get a little bit more time. No, I got a little bit more I can do. No, that's the exact time that you need to be getting up. That's the exact time that you need to be doing what you need to be doing. That's the exact time you need to be putting that extra pen to that paper. So writing the part of your book. That's the extra time that you could be making some more food for your food cart. That's the extra time you could be scheduling and sketching out your ideas on paper to transform it to reality and manifest that into fruition. And then it comes into monetization. Again, back to imagination, creation, and monetization. A lot of times as men, as the dude code, we're taught to suppress our imagination and stop creating, right? Just go with what today thing is today. What's the hot shit today? The newest Jordans, the newest iPhone, the newest this, the newest that. Slowly taking away all your creativity. Your mind is greater than the iPhone. Your mind had to create the iPhone. The iPhone didn't magically appear, and then somebody had to think about it, manifest it, put it into reality, and then make it become a thing that they can monetize on. Your brain is the best creation, so why are we not updating that? We're updating these phones every so often. We updating the Xbox, the newest PlayStation, the newest PC, but we're not updating our own intellectual property so that we can be the creators. And then we can monetize off of our creations as gods. Why are we not learning about fractional banking? Why are we not learning about how to have emotional intelligence? As black men and black gods, learn what semen retention is. See how much you can focus on your business if you hold out a little bit and you have discipline. See how much the Most High blesses you once you have discipline into this world. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit up here and make it seem like I'm doing all the things that as I'm talking to you guys about. But what I do know is that once somebody do it, it become a little bit more easier. It seems more attainable for somebody else to do it. And that's the ultimate self-love act that you can give. Is giving to yourself, is loving yourself. Learning to love yourself enough to where you're going to pour into yourself. Then when you pour into yourself and that cup becoming full, you're happy with things in life. You're living life to an abundant level. Now you can pour into others. When you are taking care of yourself and you're monitoring your body and what you put, how can you eat? And we are still eating things that is of death, wanting us to bring us life. And we want to live longer, but we're eating things of death. We're eating things that have been killed. We're not eating things that have grown, fruit, vegetables. We're not eating all of those things. And I mean every day. That's life-giving food, life food, right? You see, and if you talk about God code, we're going to talk about nigga code, God code versus guy code, right? And I always like to put nigga code is somewhere close to God code, right? And there's just God code. You can't miss that. There's no refuting that. There is just God code, right? And see, I like to say that you just a other. You just a other unless you have that B and that R that goes in front. You have that B and that R, that black and righteousness that goes in front of the other, then you become a brother. Excuse me, I said it again. You're just an other if you don't have that B and that R that goes in front of that black and righteousness. Now we're talking big God talk. Do you have that black and righteousness that goes in front of that brother? So next time somebody call you a brother, what's up, bro? Make sure that they stand on certain kind of benchmarks and narratives and marks that you fit and you feel is a brother to you. Who do you define and what do you define as brother? If they don't find brother, then you're not my brother. What's up, sir? How you doing, sir? We can definitely address each other as that. Because that's definitely part of the element, as well as knowing the difference between friends and acquaintances and family members versus relatives. And a lot of times we put again, I said this before, we put the wrong person in the wrong category, right? So now you got a friend that you considered a friend, and now, well, they're actually an acquaintance, but you put them in a friend category. Now, when they're not showing up for you and not supporting you as a friend, example, setting up an Airbnb. Who will come help you set up the Airbnb? Who will come party with you when it's time to have the grand opening? Who will come help you with your restaurant and set up, or who will come just enjoy the grand opening? And also, because we're family, or we're bros and sisters and whatever the hell that is, and then they also want some free food. They want something for free. Can I get a hookup? Can you get me in the club for free because I know you? You ain't never ate at my house. You never broke bread. We only see each other when we see each other. What's up, sir? What's up, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You know, all the brothers and bros and stuff. Because again, if you don't have that black and righteousness and not what you defined as your brother or your sister, and they don't meet these qualifications, then why are you calling them that? A lot of times in our community, we like to call each other's cuddy and family and all that. That's your cousin. Listen, I don't care if I just met this person. That person is a relative of mine. That's not my cousin like that. A cousin is somebody by blood, yes. But again, we just deciphered the difference between relatives and family members. There is a very big difference because my brother, it might have been my blood brother from my dad, but I just met him. We have never done any brotherly things. So by blood, yes, that is my relative. I am related to him by blood as a blood brother. But to be my family member, that comes with a whole nother set of standards, morals, and principles that I believe in. That I live my life and how I walk my walk as a family member, honorable, trustworthy, you know what I mean, integrity, protector, supporter, financer, all of that. Giver, shelter, teacher, educator. These are things that father, son, brother, all of those things. If you are none of those things that you don't care about, and I also care about my community and care about the people that's around, that's in the community, because community means family. That's what community is. You can't have a community if you just got a bunch of broken homes. That's just a bunch of chaos. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about family, I think about community, I think about the people who are in it. Is it a bunch of guys just doing what they want to do? Because guys gonna take your girl, they want your girl, they jealous of you. These are guy things. Or is a guy, or is my community built with guys that's taking care of their responsibilities, taking care of their children, creating jobs, creating opportunities for other guys, creating opportunities for other guys, other young guys. You know what I mean? Are they treating their goddess the way that the goddess needs and want and should be treated? Is she walking with him as an equal? Is she walking with him as an equal? Or is she following him in why he dictate every single move? What is my community built with? That's what I want to know, right? So, black man, work on yourself. Black woman, work on yourself. When you come together, that is so much power. When you can come together, that is so much power. When the black man can work on himself and the black woman can work on herself. My wife has been doing such a beautiful job. So hats off to Oshun. I appreciate you. I see all the work, the self-work that she's been doing, and it's been looking beautiful on her. And this is after 24 years. I still find this goddess very, very attractive, very beautiful. Her mind is beautiful. Her essence is beautiful. Her spirit is beautiful. Her loyalty is beautiful. That is just a beautiful woman. That is a beautiful goddess, right? So I'm going to make sure that I work on myself and I train myself every day. I'm not perfect, never going to be perfect, but I'm going to work on myself every single day to make sure that I'm going to be the best me so I can be the best me for her, right? That's what we need to get back to. Because when we are imbalanced, when we are not doing our best for ourselves, and then we try to get in a relationship, we are becoming now imbalanced. And once you become imbalanced, you can then be controlled because we're no longer acting within our design manner or within our design. You are designed a certain way, black man. As a man, you're designed a certain way. And a lot of times we're picking up these new ways of thinking of what a man is and what toxic masculinity, like what is toxic masculinity, but nobody ever wants to talk about what masculinity looks like, because if you talk about what masculinity looks like and you become stern and you walk upright and you speak truth to power, then now you become misogynistic. Now you start to get labels. Now you don't want your woman being so independent. She feel like she's being threatened, or her authority is being threatened because now she's being so masculine. I don't believe that a man should ever be fully taken care of and be taught by a woman, because at the end of the day, that man is going to eventually become her child. She's going to start to pick up so many masculine ways, guy code, right? She's going to start to pick up so many masculine ways to eventually she's going to look at you as a child. And how dare you tell her what she can and cannot do? See, a goddess only going to look out for his goddess, not control her. When we say be submissive, do you even fit the qualifications to say what you want as she having a partner? Is she going to be your equal? Is she's going to be protected? Are you going to be able to provide a job for her that you can cut a check and you can do certain things? Maybe it might not start off exactly how you're supposed to start, but you're supposed to enjoy the process. That's part of manifestation, is trusting the process. So you maybe be $80 here. It might be $100 next. Next thing you know, you start moving up to $10,000, $5,000 and so forth. Now you being able to write her bigger checks, and now she can just work for you, black man. But you got to be able to fit these, again, codes, these things that's set forth, so that way you can now have a woman that's going to be submissive. She's going to want to be submissive to you. So how are you going to want a woman to be submissive, but you don't have any knowledge to give her? You updated your iPhone 5 times, but you haven't updated your brain with anything. You're just going day to day, living, eating food, waking up, going to your master's job, and then you're doing it all over again. And then you throw little shots at people like, how's that little business going? How's your little job going? Nobody threw shade at you when you had to clock in and you had to ask somebody to go to lunch. You had to ask somebody to go to break. When you had to go to work and you getting dinged for points because you showed up late, but they can keep you later without any kind of remorse or any kind of problems. But you want to throw shade at the person who got a business, no matter how small it is. Don't throw shade to my little job. That's guy code shit. That's nigga talk. We only talking big guy talk, right? So if you want a woman to submit, then you just qualifications that you need to meet. That way that she can want to be submissive. She's gonna want to follow you. You should heal yourself first. That's the ticket. Heal yourself, black man and black woman. Heal yourself from the post-traumatic slavery trauma. Learn, educate yourself on it. Heal yourself from your childhood trauma. Learn, educate yourself on it. Heal yourself from your adult trauma. Learn, build, heal yourself, and educate yourself on it. Be better for your mate, for yourself. That way you can treat your mate better. And this has been Masterminds Tuesday night God Talk. I appreciate you. Make sure y'all tune in. Again, make sure you tap into www.marathontacticallc.com. Make sure you go ahead and look at all the events that we have coming up. We have a lot of shooting events. We got range drops to where you can pay $5 and we'll give you a range drop, let you know what range we're going to be at. We're going to let you know what ammo and what places is having ammo. So we're doing ammo drops just like they do in Call of Duty. You heard? So we're going to have that. We have our basic firearm and safety classes already uploaded for you to go. That intellectual property before you hit the range, go ahead and learn the rules and regulations before you get out there. That way, when you get out there, you don't have to go through all that stuff, and it's just secondary information. And now it's just sinking in and just to confirm it. That way, you can be extra safe. Don't get out there, learn something, and forget. Oh, then you end up getting kicked out, or you potentially hurt somebody, or worst case scenario, you kill someone. Right? Let's not do that. Negligence charges is very, very real in the firearm world. We have the home invasion class. Home invasion class with my brother JB out of Virginia had to shoot 2 of his home invaders. So when he shot 2 of his home invaders, right? He actually got off on it. So it's a whole situation to tell you how he maneuvered through that situation and so forth. So make sure you tap in with that. We have a credit class, how to get your credit right, build, restore, and get your credit cleaned up, how to leverage your credit. Then from how to leverage your credit, learn how to get into the Airbnb and the Turo business. Learn how to make passive income on property that you don't even own. The landlord only wants this rent $2,200 every month, but you making about $3,000 every week, $2,000 every week. So now after the landlord get his, you just pocketed $4,000. So learn how to get your stuff on Airbnb. A lot of people is having properties out there that they don't know what to do with, or you can teach you how to speak to landlords, how to speak to financial people that'll get you inside of a couple apartments. And as you get a couple of them, you got a nice little passive income coming. Now you can pay your woman, right? Put your cars on Turo. Same thing. It's the Airbnb for cars. You can go get you a $10,000 check and go get you 1 Mustang so you can show off and let that car depreciate. Or you can take 5, $250 each or whatever. Go put it on 2 Mustangs, put them on Turo, let them cars rent themselves out and pay for themselves in the long run. So I can only tell you, it's up to you whether or not you're going to follow. So y'all know what to do. Go ahead and click the link in the bio, and we'll see you next time. Salute.